the homie Big KRIT dropped a project, and I kind of compare this to sports figures. You hear people talking about LeBron's legacy. Oh, this is going to hurt his legacy.
I think you hear that because you want to hear that. I never hear that.
Don't nobody else say that? Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah.
You never hear LeBron's legacy brought up?
Only from you.
It's just me?
Yep, pretty much.
Well, I'll show you some stuff.
No, you don't
No,
have
it's
to.
okay.
Yeah, I ain't gonna show him that. But well, that's the comparison I'm using. Sports comparison. This KRIT album, Digital Roses Don't Die, has been very polarizing from what I'm seeing on just people at conversations I've already had, or social media outlets, or wherever you want to get it from. But as we evolve as fans with artists, do we go overboard sometimes with albums that might be a little bit to the left from what an artist normally does? Do we hold that as a demerit or as something that kind of tanks the legacy, or do we grow with them, appreciate the growth, and then look for the next project? Because I've seen a lot of 50-50 on this one. I listened to it, and I had a conversation with a couple KRIT fans. I think the production is brilliant, but it is completely different from what I thought KRIT's project was going to be, and I had to listen to it a couple times. I normally don't have to do that with KRIT. So I can appreciate the growth, I can appreciate the artistic value, but this might not be it. So that's just my personal opinion.
I didn't listen to it, but just speaking on that whole idea, I mean, people that know me probably know, but I'm very non-celebrity worship type person. Like, I don't care about anything. I think it's all goofy. And that goes even for people that I like and that I'm fans of. So right. I can personally want KRIT to make a specific type of project and to knock all the things off the checklist, right? Or Fonte would probably be that artist for me, right? But if Fonte dropped a super out, left field type record, which he kind of has,
yes,
then I try my best to just appreciate it for what it is, because I know that he's an artist and he's going to do it. And it's just like Andre when he dropped Love Below, right?
Exactly.
Who was expecting that?
Good comparison.
I think we have to, as critics in general, and everybody's a critic now. Everybody is a critic. I don't know. I think we just need to allow space for people to be who they are and just like what you like, talk about what you like, and don't talk about what you don't like. To me, that's the formula.
I can dig it.
I like that. Go ahead, Jay Diff.
From this point of view, as far as KRIT is concerned and artists in general, me personally, I'm not really a big fan of this album. It's cool. I understand once I actually went back and listened to the whole thing, I got the story. I understand it. In some cases, these artists have to get something off their heart, off their chest. They have to put it out there in order for them to move forward and continue the creative process. In some cases, that becomes this artist's magnum opus. In some cases, it becomes a miss. Like, the fans don't really jive with it. But it's something that this artist had to do in order to kind of cut through and evolve into the artists that they are going to be later down the line. I'm all with growth. I want artists to grow. It's one of the problems that I talk about and address with Drake. Every one of his albums sound the same.
Yep.
And I like Drake, but you're following that same format. I like to see artists take chances in order to kind of, see if that's where they want to go, and them kind of listen to it or get in the groove and go back and forth with themselves. All right, I'm kind of done with that phase now. Let me move on. And like you brought up with Andre 3000. Andre 3000 is an artist. Like, he literally doesn't care. He's going to take whatever chance he wants. In his case, he hits every time, though, because he's a creative genius. And that's not to say that KRIT isn't a creative genius. It's just that KRIT is known for a certain sound, at least for me. Mm-hmm. So when I'm listening to Big KRIT, I'm wanting to kind of hear something else. Like even the EP that he dropped prior to this, that had the energy track on it.
Yeah.
So if he had went that route with this album, because that's kind of the same kind of groove that I felt.
What you want from him.
Yeah.
Right?
That's more so where I'm comfortable with KRIT.
Yeah.
This here, like, it's not whack by any means.
Nah.
But it's just not for me necessarily.
But do you think that maybe when we're using Andre as a comparison. Do you think that back when the Love Below, I mean, I remember when that came out, it wasn't necessarily received great across the board.
I thought it was dope the first time I heard it.
Really? But it wasn't.
I agree with him.
But
in
it
terms
wasn't
of
received because there are a lot of people that were super outcast that loved Dre for rhyming.
Yep.
In the way that he was.
They did the same thing on 𝗡𝗄𝗡𝗋𝗋s though. So on 𝗡𝗡𝗋𝗋𝗋s, they were saying that Outkast really wasn't hitting anymore either.
I wouldn't
so maybe I'm weird in the sense that I like those chances that they were taking because they were hits in my personal opinion.
I wouldn't compare the risk level though from the first album to 𝗡𝗡𝗋𝗋s versus them coming out of, I'm getting old. What was that? What was before? What preceded?
Aquemini?
No.
Stankonia. Yeah.
I think the jump from Stankonia to Love Below is way big.
No, it's big.
You know what I'm saying?
It's big on Dre's end.
Not Big Boys.
Not Big Boys, yep.
And I think maybe it helped because they dropped a double album too, potentially. But I don't know. Maybe it's too soon for that for KRIT. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I mean, you said you felt that way initially, but you know, not everybody did.
Yeah,
you know?
well, there's a story behind it, so I understand why he did it.
Yeah,
because it's something personal to him. Kind of similar to how when J. Cole dropped For Your Eyes, or I can't remember the title of it.
Was it Force Hills?
For Your Eyes Only?
No, For Your Eyes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So that was an album that he had to get out there. It was a homage to his homeboy that had got killed.
Right.
He wanted to get that album out pretty much as a letter to his homeboy's daughter. So it didn't hit the same way as his other albums. And I appreciate him for doing it. That's dope for him to get in that mind frame and that artistic state in order to do that and get that off his heart and move forward. That's kind of same thing I see with this KRIT album, is that he had to get this off his chest in order to kind of move forward artistically.
I think, Lone, what you said is what I can put on myself as being a person that does this. When you talked about maybe putting too much weight on the concept of it being so far left, instead of removing the fan part of it and looking at it from an artist standpoint, where we're all alluding to, maybe he had to do it, or maybe there was a concept behind it, or maybe there was a reason behind it. And I always use Electric Circus as an example because Common, one of my favorite rappers, threw me completely off. I had to come back to appreciate that later. You know what I mean? And even with this one, you know, to Terry's point, there's stuff on there that I love about it. It's kind of,
it's not whack though
at all, but it just kind of threw me for a loop. I didn't see it coming.
To me, it's more like just and I'll let you talk, Jay, but to me, it's just to me, it's more of a philosophy. You know, like I tried my best. I practice this to try to come at things from an egoless state.
Yeah.
So to take myself out of it, and I'm not good at it, but I'm getting better at it. But you know, it's like if I don't like it, then it's like, ooh, it wasn't for me, you know, and that's okay, you know, and I try not to speak negative on stuff. I just try to let it live.
That line that you said at the end is the one I've worked on, and that's okay. Okay.
It's okay. Yeah. It's not for me. It's not going to end the world or anything.
No, exactly.
You can't microscope somebody that's artistically inclined like that. I mean, there's no point in doing that because you have no merit on their career or what they're going to do next regardless.
And you don't know why, you know, and stuff like that. And you know they're good. So it's like,
he's beyond certified in my book. So this isn't going
and you know, I actually like the record. I like the record. You know, it's got a completely music from the production standpoint.
Oh, man.
I mean, there's parts where he's singing on there, so it throws you off.
He sings a lot.
You know, to the point where, like, you know, it's almost like, okay, is he trying? You know, it's almost like first KRIT album. Like if you have some of the little baddies over, you want to throw on some hip hop, you want to vibe out a little bit, you can throw this KRIT album on. You usually don't say that about KRIT albums because it really is for people who want to hear him rhyme.
True.
But you know, I like the overall vibe of it. But you know, even when you take it to like, if your favorite Jay-Z song is Big Pimpin', you're not gonna like anything on 444. You know, like you didn't. You weren't really. You're not really on the ride sometimes for people's growth. You know, and maybe that's because you just expect something from someone, or it could be just because, look, you're not growing at that same pace. or you have.
I like to holler at broads at the mall.
Yeah, if you still hollering at broads at the mall, you don't want to hear about financial responsibility and being faithful to one woman,
especially if you go to the mall.
Yeah, so like
Who goes
I said,
to a mall?
you can't really be mad. I mean, you can't be mad at fans because sometimes everybody can't come along on a ride with you.
That's true.
But at the same time, I can't be mad at an artist because he decides that what he was doing 5 to 10 years ago is no longer who he is, and that can't be a reflection of his art. So I think that everyone just has to kind of make their own. There was a time I really loved Spice One. And even now when I listen to, like, it takes me back to that place where I love Spice One, but like I don't know what Spice One's new music sounds like. I'm not really checking, if he's still talking about gang banging and drinking malt liquor, I'm not there with you, fam.
Question is, what were you doing when you were listening?
I was probably too young to be listening to Spice One. That's probably what it was. I didn't know any better.
I was just checking.
Just like I was too young to be.
First time you heard what 187 meant.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was probably too young. I was too young, honestly, to be listening to the Chronic and Doggy Style, but at the same time, it resonated with me at the time, and that's just kind of how music can hit you, because music marks time. But like I said, you just can't be mad at, sometimes an artist is going to evolve past you and what you're doing in your life, and that's okay.